With Kayvon Thibodeaux being added to injured reserve, his season is done, and there's been a lot of chatter over the last couple of days about his future with the New York Giants, and there are talking heads out there saying a trade could be coming. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Let's dive into it. Dan Duggan of The Athletic saying this: Kayvon is very interesting, talking about his future with the team. It's amazing that they had to go into this season believing that they'd gain a clear understanding of how to proceed. But as we enter the offseason, the picture remains as cloudy as ever. He's a solid player, and if they could sign him to a market rate extension for a rotational edge rusher, I'd do that in a heartbeat. But I don't get the sense that he'd jump at a team-friendly extension at a time when his value is low. But if you play out the contract here, you invite the scenario outlined below, expecting a lot of chatter, trade chatter, this offseason. Impossible to forecast anything until we know who will be making the personnel decisions. And that will be key about who are the New York Giants going to have being the general manager of this football team when the offseason begins. Is it going to be Joe Schoen? Is it going to be somebody else? One of the first decisions they are going to have to make, though, is what are we going to do with the Kayvon Thibodeaux contract? Are we going to extend him? Are we going to potentially shop him around the NFL? I can promise you this: teams are going to be calling the New York Giants, and I'll just say it bluntly, there's no way you can give Kayvon Thibodeaux a lucrative contract extension this offseason. If he wants a contract extension at the same pay scale of a starting edge rusher in this league, you just can't really give it to him because he hasn't played at that level. Look, I'd love to keep Kayvon Thibodeaux. The idea I believe in is drafting talented players, developing those talented players, and then paying and keeping those talented players. But Kayvon Thibodeaux has not been healthy. Kayvon Thibodeaux has not been uber productive. And I think everyone would agree that you haven't really missed him on the football field over the last 6 games. I thought Kayvon was playing better than he had in his NFL career prior to the injury. 32 pressures in 10 games compared to 38 pressures in 12 games. 43 pressures in 17 games. 45 pressures in 14 games. But if you want to get paid as an edge rusher, you got to get the quarterback on the ground. And Kayvon Thibodeaux just hasn't really done that all that often. Just 2.5 sacks in 10 games this year. 5.5 sacks in 12 games in 2024. He did have 11.5 sacks in 2023, but I think we all know that number was a little bit fake. He did it versus a lot of backup offensive tackles, and those were inflated numbers due to great coverage on the back end. Like 5 tackles for loss this year, 8 tackles for loss last year. Like, again, I'd love to keep Kayvon Thibodeaux. I'd love to pay him, but he's got to earn it. Like, you can't tell me after 4 years in the NFL that Kayvon has earned a mega extension for the Giants. And just putting my thinking cap on, I bet Kayvon wants to get paid. And I bet he wants to be paid as a productive starting edge in this league. I'm sure he's trying to secure the bag. He has the name value. He has that going for him. But the name value has not matched the production value in his NFL career. He was getting better. He did grow as a run defender this year. I thought it was his best season defending the run. You don't pay an edge rusher $20+ million to be a good run-stopping edge that doesn't really get the passer on the ground. And then durability with Kayvon Thibodeaux. It has to be a major concern. Like 2 years in a row, he has missed significant time. And like, go back to his rookie year. He missed time then. And I get it. It's the NFL. People are going to miss time. But you missed 7 games this year with what appears to be a major injury to your elbow, arm, or shoulder. He always wears that brace. I mean, nothing wrong with wearing that, but the dude's been banged up, played in 12 games in 2024, missed 3 games here, missed 5 games here, missed 7 games here. 7 plus 5, 12 plus 3. He's missed 15 games in 4 years. On average, he almost misses 4 games a year. It's almost a quarter of the season. And then just 8 sacks in the last 22 games. And I don't want to boil all the production in a stat. All the stat production doesn't just always get boiled into sacks. And I get that. But that's how edge rushers get paid. That'd be like paying a quarterback that doesn't win games, that doesn't throw touchdowns. Similar to like that one quarterback that was here. It's like paying a running back that doesn't stay healthy, can't run for 1,300 yards, doesn't score touchdowns. Like paying a receiver $36 million who can't catch the football. Oh, wait, the New York Giants, they did do that. Like, Kayvon's looking to secure the bag. We know that. And you know what? If I was him, I'd be looking to secure the bag as well. But I know that he's a really smart guy, and he knows his value is not that high right now. You're ending the season on an extremely low note. And, has anyone missed Kayvon this year? Do we think we would have won any of the games if Kayvon played in the last 6 weeks? I don't think so. And that's a lot to ask of an edge rusher. But if you want to be paid like a big-time player, you got to be a needle mover. And since his rookie year against Washington, when have we just had a Kayvon Thibodeaux masterclass? I don't know. I'll say that to say this. I think you have to listen to trade offers this offseason, especially if a new general manager comes in. How many times have you seen a new GM come into a team and say, I got to get my guys in here? And that wasn't my guy. I don't want to pay him. I want to trade him, get draft capital, and replace him, and probably get similar production and not pay him all that much money, pay him half of the price. Now, if it's Joe Shane, your first draft pick as a Giant, one of the few hits you have in the first round, where a hit is a little bit generous, I think you would consider Kayvon Thibodeaux a double, like a sliding double, barely a double. I don't know. If a team is willing to give you a first-round pick for Kayvon Thibodeaux, you'd do that in a heartbeat. And there were rumors at the trade deadline that teams were calling the Giants, and they were telling teams we need a first-round pick, and nobody offered it. So what does that tell you the NFL thinks about Kayvon Thibodeaux? If a team's not willing to give up a first-round pick for you, you probably shouldn't command all that much money in NFL free agency. It's a sticky situation. Are you going to pay him the big bucks this offseason? If not, that probably means you don't see him as a part of your future long-term plans. And if you don't, you probably should look to trade for him. I think a lot of people watching this video would agree that they would trade Kayvon Thibodeaux for a first-round pick. So I'll ask a different question. Would you trade Kayvon Thibodeaux for a second-round pick? If a team called you up and let's say they had pick 46, midway, essentially through the second round, would you trade that pick for Kayvon Thibodeaux? Type T for trade, type K for keep. A lot more to talk about on today's show. More about Kayvon Thibodeaux trade rumors that are heating up. But first, I got to tell you about our proud sponsor of today's show. That's PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Everyone's favorite PrizePicks holiday promotion is back. 7 days of Picksmas. PrizePicks is giving out 7 days of deals all the way through Christmas Day, including a Christmas Day max discount. Picksmas starts December 20th, so download the app today and unwrap those deals. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, and when you play your first $5, you're going to get $50 in lineups. It's fun and it's easy. All you do is create a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you simply pick more or less on their projected stat line. I've already got my Christmas Day PrizePicks lineup ready to go for football. I got more on passing yards for Dak Prescott. I'm taking the more on rushing and receiving touchdowns for Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm taking the more on R.J. Harvey touchdowns as well. You can roll with my picks or fade my picks. Just do it at PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less, play PrizePicks. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS, and when you play your first $5, you don't even got to win. PrizePicks is going to give you $50 in lineups right after that. All of that information will be clickable down in the comments and description. When it comes to Kayvon Thibodeaux and what his trade value is, and if there's a team out there offering you a mid-round, second-round pick, it would be hard for me to say no. I'm not jumping at a second-round pick. Like, I would listen. I probably lean towards yes, but I'm not smashing the button saying you got to do that deal. Because I still think that Kayvon Thibodeaux can be a really good player in this league. But, like, there's a timeline here. He's playing on a one-year deal after this year. And when you have a player play on a one-year deal, 9 times out of 10, the writing is on the wall that that player is not going to be on your team 365 days later. And if you don't trade him, you have to extend him. And you could flip it the other way too. If you don't extend him this offseason, you can let him play on that 5th-year option, but then it gets super sticky. Like, is Kayvon Thibodeaux an impact player? I thought he was very impactful his rookie year against Washington on prime time, where he said, prime time likes me. I thought he also looked really good on that Thanksgiving Day game against the Dallas Cowboys his rookie year. He had like 9 pressures in that game. I think he grew as an edge setter this year against the run. There hasn't been a game this year that he hasn't played in, though, and said, man, if the Giants just had Kayvon Thibodeaux in there, they would have won today. Like, I don't know. So I went back and looked at some recent edge rusher contracts. And one that I think matched up with some production-wise with Kayvon and similar draft stat, like just a similar player. Gregory Russo, the edge rusher for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills signed him to a 4-year, $80 million contract this offseason with nearly $39 million guaranteed. So I was like, all right, let's compare. Since Kayvon has only played 22 games the last 2 seasons, let's compare numbers over the last 22 games played. Russo has 10 more tackles. Kayvon has 2 more tackles for loss. Russo has 2 more sacks. Their pressures and stops are almost identical. So why would Kayvon Thibodeaux not ask for that same contract? One thing that I think is noteworthy is Russo just had some better years as well. 51 pressures in a season, 70 pressures in a season, 62 pressures in a season. And he's only missed 2 games in the last 3 years. So he's been a lot more dependable as well. Like, one, I don't think Gregory Russo is worth $20 million. So why would I think that Kayvon Thibodeaux is worth $20 million? That's a lot of money. Like, are you paying edge number 3? Because Abdul Carter's already better than Kayvon Thibodeaux. Brian Burns is significantly better than Kayvon Thibodeaux. And Burns gets paid $30 million per year. Like, I can understand why Kayvon will want 20, but I'm not paying him that. Like, $15 million per year? Sure. 3 years, $45 million? You want to go 3 years, $50 million? Sure, but that's about as high as I would go on a Kayvon Thibodeaux contract. Like, and then, like, you go to the point of playing out the 5th-year option. Like, that gets a little bit sketchy. That leaves a bad taste in his mouth. Pause. That puts the Giants in a spot at the end of the season where one of 2 things can happen. He plays not all that great, and he probably leaves in free agency for nothing, or you get a comp pick back. Woo, comp pick. Or he plays really good, he holds you hostage, and he demands $25 million per year. And then maybe you're not willing to go that high. And then you got to franchise tag him. And that would be the worst case scenario for everybody. And then we get into this saga of the Giants and Keith Thibodeaux. They're beefing. You don't want any of that. Like, the Giants are offered a significant trade package this offseason. They really, really need to consider it for Kayvon. And that's coming from someone that likes Kayvon Thibodeaux, that has his jersey. Bought it the summer after his before his rookie year. I bought his shirt jersey. I don't know. $20 million for him is a lot of money. I bet you the Bills are regretting that contract. Got a lot of holes to fill. $20 million for edge number 3 when you're already paying Burns, Dex, Abdul, and Chauncey Golston. That's going to be a tough decision. I think if Joe Shane stays, it's more likely he's going to be a Giant for a long time. New GM comes in, I think there's probably more of a chance that he does get traded. All I know is this. We'll keep you updated all off season long. It's going to be an interesting offseason for this team. Subscribe and turn those notifications on.